Hi there. We are live. This is Suzanne Tulien with Brand Ascension, and welcome members of the Ignite My Personal Brand Mastermind Consortium membership program. Woo! We have Katie. She joined us today, and it's the last Friday. Katie, did you realize that it's the last Friday?
This is a hard time of year because it's that in between Christmas and New Year's. And are people working or are they at home with families? It's like my schedule is not normal.
I don't think many people are working because I was out all morning long and everything is packed, like restaurants and coffee shops. I mean, they could be working at coffee shops and stuff, but it seemed more like all the family is out doing stuff together. You know, that's great, a great week to take off because no one's answering their phones. They're not returning emails. And this is a big business development time of year for me because, I got to get stuff on the books for January 2019, and hopefully all my members, including you, are trying to do the same thing. And it's, how do you do that when everybody's like in La La Land and in magical wonderland?
And I find in my business, that's something that comes up a lot because, I have a team. So I'm trying to get things scheduled, but they're out, in La La Land too. Yeah. And you're like, okay, come on, you guys, we got to take a little time to get focused.
Yeah. So speaking of focus, that's kind of a great inlay to what I wanted to talk about today. And it occurred to me while I was on my vacation this year, just a few weeks ago, me and my husband went to the Arctic Circle and also hit Amsterdam. And so we were on the way out, we were in 4 airports. So 1, 2, 3, 5 airports, actually. 4 planes, 5 airports. And I happened to notice something when we were in Amsterdam, and we were taking Delta or KLM. It looks like someone else may have just joined. That might be Terry. Hi, Terry. If I can't see you real well, but if you're here, great. Thank you. So we were in Amsterdam, and, the hustle and bustle of the Amsterdam airport and all the shops and, designs and everything. It's really multi-sensorial. It's really cool. We were exhausted when we got there, but I noticed this group of KLM Delta. I don't even know what KLM stands for, and I never heard of the airline before we got booked on this airline. But if you remember the movie Catch Me If You Can with Tom Hanks and Leonardo, right? DiCaprio. Yeah. So there was a scene in that movie that just reminded me of what I saw at the Amsterdam, where I saw these groups of pilots and stewardesses, dressed in their uniforms to a T. And I have a printout of this because I went and found this. Remember seeing their presence, like walking together, like in unison, like choreographed. They all wait till they all get to a certain post. And then they're all, dressed to the T, and they're walking with like almost marching steps, through the crowds of people, through all the different areas of the airport, but everyone like parts, and lets them come through. And so I wanted to talk about, I said, this is brand presence. This is a thoughtful, compelling, it's conscious, strategic, and deliberate. And, everyone just is like, Noah, what was that?
Red Sea. Yeah.
The parting of the Red Sea, right? And everybody stops and kind of watches this parade of the crew getting ready to board, and it's such a professional feeling, and that they look so smart and professional. Smart meaning just cleaned up and, to the T. And so it got me thinking about, just being more conscious about what we want others to perceive us in our overall brand presence. When you're walking into a networking room, right, you want people to kind of turn over their shoulder and check you out, right? Just see, do you have that air? Are you thoughtfully thinking about what you want others to perceive of you, right? So I wanted to open with this concept so that when we break into 2019, we get so much more present to our brand style attributes and our core values. There's Miss Terry. Hi, Miss Terry.
Hello.
And thank you for joining us. And really consider, because most of my members right now in this group have gone through the program. So they've got brand style, you've got your definitions, you've got your core values. How often do you look at them? And what can you do to create that multi-sensory environment when you show up so that people begin to sense that set of core values or that set of brand style attributes? Not necessarily even, talking to those attributes, but the air about you is that. Is that making sense? With that analogy, it was impressive. And I'm thinking, not enough companies really pay attention to this ability to create presence, brand presence. And so just really quick, I wanted to define what I meant by brand presence as well. So it's a real quick definition, but it's packed full of compelling thought. And again, this isn't Webster Dictionary's definition, it's mine. So personal brand presence is the set of perceptions created through your energy, actions, behaviors, and appearance that reveal the narrative of your value position to others. I'll read it again, and I'll post this too. The set of perceptions created through your energy, actions, behaviors, and appearance that reveal the narrative of your value position to others. And so, wow, it's like, that's big when you think about it. But all of you, 95% of you in this group have done the work. You've created the DNA. And then the real work actually starts after that, because that's when you start implementing it and you start creating those actions and behaviors that help you tangibly define that in the way you deliver your services, the way you talk to your clients, your family, your friends. Remember there's 6 buckets in your standards of living that you have to really think about. How am I delivering on brand in all of these different areas? So I want to just bring this about at the end of the year here to get you realigned and re-energized and thinking again about following through with what you've worked so hard on in defining the DNA attributes of that program and who you are. So how can you really begin to create tangibility around it? I want to talk a little bit about the benefits of that, and you guys can chime in. But I think the benefits of creating brand presence, number one, is differentiation. And we talked about, when you walk into a room and you're in a networking environment, like let's just say the Women's Chamber First Fridays, right? You want people to kind of turn your head and notice, and not necessarily because you're all, maybe decked out or something that you're trying to get attention for, but the air and essence of confidence in knowing who you are and what you're going to bring about is what makes them turn their head and look at you, right? So you got to get into that space. And oftentimes when I train my speakers, we talk about that song. What is that one song before you go on, before you get to the stage, right? Before you even get to the parking lot, that you're singing in your head that is so totally you and energizing you, that gets you in that frame of mind, right? It's similar to that. So before you walk into a room, what are your goals? What do you want them to perceive? And you know all this because you've done the work. That's the easy part. Just you've got to live it now. So that first benefit is differentiation. The second one is that by understanding your own brand presence, you are automatically aligning yourself on the outside to the inside. When you think about, how do my style attributes actually show up in how I dress and how I speak and how I shake hands, look them in the eye, listen, be present with them, all of those things. You want to design this experience around your style attributes and your core values. And then the third one I want to touch on briefly is just projecting. The benefit is you're able to project your style in a way where you're not just listing attributes, which you can on your website because that's in a narrative format, but you show up that way, your image, right? You choose every day what you're going to wear, and does that outfit reflect who you are, holistically in that Gestalt DNA that you've designed for yourself. And so that the how pieces around that are staying conscious, right? Reading your DNA sheet at least once a week, if not one attribute definition every day. Change it up, get used to it, know it to a point where you don't have to read it anymore. You just know it, right? That's the goal, because you can't become it until you know it at a conscious level, okay? And this helps you stay more, and this is the biggest deal that's happening right now, I see it everywhere, is to stay more internally driven instead of externally impacted. So instead of having our external environment drive what we're doing, saying, and being, we are being driven by what we know to be true in our authentic self. And that manipulates your experience externally, because that gives us the power to manifest different experiences when we take control. So that's a great benefit of reviewing your DNA on a very regular basis. And then the fun part of this is being able to design that delivery. What does that look like? How do I begin to take control of my very first meeting with my client? What am I going to do that will inherently deliver an expectation or a perception that I want them to have of me? So you look at your style attributes and you say, well, how can I create an experience that will perpetuate this? And then you think, okay, that's my initial meeting with the client. Then I've got my actual delivery of service. And then I have follow-up, basically, right? So what are all of those, what I call customer touch points? What do all those look like? And how can I infuse my brand delivery and I'll be aligned with my core values and style attributes? Now, this takes creative thought. And this is actually what will differentiate your brand from others. And you guys are so ahead of the game because you're clear on it. Now you just have to use those tools to make it tangible in your actions and behaviors, right? In your appearance. So that's kind of the topic I just wanted to bring up around brand presence at the end of this year, so we can kick off the new year with being super conscious, strategic, and deliberate in how we want to start really showing up. And then, make it conscious, deepen it to that subconscious level. So what questions does anybody out there have on that discussion before we open it up to just other questions?
Well, shoot, now I want to go get a uniform at the flight attendant school.
Isn't that cool? Terry, I don't know if you saw this, but I was showing these images of this choreographed walk through the Amsterdam airport with the team of stewardesses and their pilot all dressed to the T. And it brought about such a great presence. So what can you do? Katie, what can you do to say, I am Kiss Me Katie? I'm proud of it, and you need to know me,
Well, I'm not going to wear lip gloss everywhere I go, but
right.
I just had to share a little bit of a story on my most recent flight to Minneapolis. I think I was on Delta or United. I'm not sure. And the flight attendants all had these new uniforms, bright purple uniforms. And I'm not saying they were my favorite. However, they did get my attention, and I did go up and talk to the gal in the restroom. I was in the middle of the terminal, and I was asking her, and she said they're brand new designer, some designer. I don't know if she said Marc Jacobs or something, but they're all these new uniforms. And it was like, it got my attention. And, you know,
how did it make you feel?
Well, like they're really putting, well, first of all, I'm like, okay, that purple's a hard color to match for lip color. But beyond that, you know, a lot of businesses are going so casual. And I don't know if they think that's better, but it's like, then it leads to too much confusion. You're like, wait, what are you doing? Sorry, my computer is making all these noises, but I think it's important to, like, yeah, you might have casual day, and that's awesome that you get to represent yourself and what you want to do. Being an entrepreneur, I can wear anything I want, but I know I have a certain style. Yeah. And when I'm not dressing in that style, I don't feel myself. Like, you know, there's days when you just throw on really casual stuff. That's okay if that's my office day. But even then, sometimes I feel like, wait, no. You know, you got to think about what really represents you. And it may not always be in, you know, you don't have to wear a suit, but you just have to, like you said, think about what is, you know, how do you represent that? I'm not really sure how I want my appearance, other than, hey, I sell makeup products. I teach people about makeup and skincare. So I know I want to be wearing makeup and I want to be looking nice and professional. Those are my main people I work with, are people that are professional and just want tips on how to do that.
Your biggest show.
I don't leave the house without. I didn't hear what you said. Oh, I turned my sound down. That's why. Okay.
Your biggest showcase item is your face.
Right.
Because of the care you take with your makeup. I thought I heard Terry say something, but really, and that's your advertisement.
Yeah, you always look really good, Katie. And then also the stripes on your hand, the lipstick. I love that about you. I see that and I love it. So just wanted to say
you're right. That is me. People say, oh, do you do that? I'm like, yeah, like every day.
Yes. And what you were saying about, you know, so many companies are taking this casual stance. What they're actually doing, without probably being conscious of it, is really creating a commodity mindset. But so now, so this is what happens with trends, right? When everybody's doing it, that's when you recognize that and you stand up doing something different.
Right.
And dress up, right? And wear, you know, just be polished, right?
Yeah.
So great point. You know, something similar to, it doesn't have to do with personal brands, but when all the coffee shops got onto Wi-Fi, and then there was this little bit of time where they thought that they could capitalize on this Wi-Fi, and they started charging for it. And then they just had this total like anarchy from their clients. And then another coffee shop recognized that and did free, right? So everyone's going back to free. And so it's about recognizing what's happening in those trends. And if you really want to create differentiations, consider how you can not be that. Yeah, that's great. Thanks for that. Thanks for sharing that. That's fun. Yeah, I've seen a lot of new outfits. I think all the airlines are kind of stepping it up, you know, and doing more design.
I like the idea that they're more style, I guess, but I have to say it wasn't really my favorite. It was kind of weird, but hey, that's all right. They're trying something new.
Yeah, and no brand is universal either. I think that the overall effect is that there's a lot of consistency. They're upgrading or updating. You know, they're conscious about that. They're looking smart in terms of style, you know, whether it's your style or not, that's, you know, but they are making that effort, and noticing that is, you know, like a professional credential.
And it made you take notice.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. So Terry, any comments on the topic of brand presence?
No, because, you know, my style, I'm just an old hippie, so here I am, you know. So.
But your style is still style.
Well, it's
right.
I do show up authentically. you know.
And yeah, and so what is if you think about the air about you and you being so transparent and so just down to earth, right? And you know, your approach, you have to consciously think about that in order for you to emanate that energy to your audiences in terms of your networking or prospects or whatever that might look like.
I just want people to know that I just want to be approachable to folks.
Yeah.
I want them to be able to, you know, come to me and talk about things that are bothering them or things they need help with that I might be able to just kind of move them through. So, yeah.
Yeah. You really don't have that, that salesy presence at all. I think that you just have a conversation with people, you know, and it's your style of conversation. You know, there's some jokes in there. You've got a lot of humor going on. You're really real. I mean, I think you're super approachable. So think about that as your brand presence, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, good. Excellent.
And like Forrest Gump says, that's all I have to say about that.
Right. Excellent. So good. That was a good conversation and just a good reminder to think about that in January and what your approach might be and all of those touch points that you have. I don't know if any of you have done a touch point audit, but it's just a review or assessment of where do I touch my clients? I touch them on the website. I touch them on Facebook. I touch them on the phone call. I touch them in the first meeting. I touch them in the delivery. I touch them, you know, all these different areas. When you write that down, you can begin designing or infusing different elements of your brand into those touch points and just get people familiar with what you want them to perceive, right? Whether it's through your narrative, the content you write on your website, in what you say in emails, how you talk to them in networking events, all those types of things. But that's a good way to really, you know, start taking action with all of those different touch points that you have.
One of the things that you helped me with in the course was of touch points. How can I really stand out? And so I sell products to customers as well. I sell products to customers. Sometimes they don't need me for 3-4 months. And maybe I met them at an event and then I want to stay in top of mind with them. If they're in my Facebook group, that's easy because they see me on a regular, well, you think they see you, they probably don't because only 10% do see you there. But I try and continue to engage with my customers. So I fine-tuned my follow-up. So when I send out a package, I include a card.
Great.
It has my photo, says thank you, has my logo on there. Thank you for helping me with that. It has one of my favorite beauty quotes on there, and then room for me to handwrite a message because I feel like a lot of us just don't get the handwritten notes. And to me, that makes a huge difference as well. So I'm trying to find ways that I can stand out that way. And with my face too, because they don't see me that often. Mm-hmm. So trying to really be consistent with my logo on my face. And what I was writing down as you were talking are ways that I can show a little more of my brand, my style, what's important to me in some of those, not just in like that card, but in other ways when I touch people, how I can really make sure that those things come across in every touch.
Even in your handwritten note, you could infuse an attribute term in some way, shape, or form, because obviously if they're working with you, there's some resonation. They're resonating with who you are. You can talk about more adventure, especially if they're a part of your team or something like that, because you've got a set of style attributes that are really fun and interesting. Try to infuse that narrative into some of your handwritten notes too. That's great. It's awesome. Congratulations. I love that card. I was just going to find mine. So these are great, right?
Yeah.
These are great little cards to have. Same deal, right? To have that opportunity to do that little private handwritten note that is so special these days because we just don't have it
Right.
often enough. Awesome. Good. So is that topic done? Can we move on to other questions?
Sure. But can you turn on like some really warm background? Because I am freezing in my office.
You know, I was wondering.
Like a nice beach would be good right now.
I know. And I tell you, all of a sudden, I forget how to do it.
Is that on Zoom? That's so
yeah. So I forget how to do this because
That's all right. I'm just teasing you.
Yeah. Sorry. Put on a hat or gloves.
I know.
Okay, so I just wanted then to spend the rest of the time just answering any questions, any other type of question, because again, this is about coaching. And I did ask for questions from the members, and I did get one from Pamela Cornoyer, who's an executive leadership coach. And she says, if I have several URLs for unique programs that I offer, but they all have my brand, like she has a URL called leadersinparadise.com, because that's an excursion she does, like retreat with other with her clients. So like leadersinparadise.com, how do I brand the individual programs and stay within my personal brand? So the way I would answer that is just off the cuff, and I did go to that site page and review it, but off the cuff, it's almost like if you're doing this event and retreat and you're designing it, it's very hard for you not to do it on brand, especially if you've done the brand work and you've got that subconscious in your brain. And if you're authentic enough in what you've created in your DNA, if you did that, all the activities, and you really honed in and they all resonate with you, it's hard for you to design that outside of your brand. Now, if you had someone else, like a virtual assistant, design a program for you or design your web page for you, there's an opportunity for them to design it off brand, right? But there are some things that I noticed on the website, Pam, that I would add to or tweak, and I'm speaking to Pam on this because she's going to watch this later too, is that you definitely have to have the powerful and true brand, her visual brand, on that landing page. Right now it's not there. So that's one thing that is missing, because if I'm buying this program called Leaders in Paradise, I'm really buying Pamela's coaching. So I'm really buying the brand of Pamela. I don't care where we go, right? I want her coaching. It's just the icing on the cake is that it happens to be in Mexico and it's going to be a fun adventure. But Pamela in and of herself is fun and adventurous. And what I know of Pam is that anything I do with her is going to be fun and adventurous. So it's important that she really infuse, just the visual pieces that she has on her website onto this also landing page. So it looks like I'm landing on her page, and it's what I know to be her. So I feel confident that I'm buying something from Pamela, right? And not something that might be a landing page. Like, did I get off on the wrong landing? How many of you have ever gone to another page from a company page and thought, wow, it doesn't even look like them? Or did I go to the right page? So your mind just immediately thinks that you're confused, right? Because it's not visually representative of what you thought you were going to. And then also for Pamela, I would say she's got a little video on there that shows a lot of fun still images of the adventure part of it. It hardly shows anything around the meat of the coaching. So I would definitely add some of those images in there for her. So I get a sense that it's just not all play, but I'm paying for this to get the leadership content and value also. And I also miss not seeing her say something to me, the viewer, on the page. If I'm landing on this page, I want more of her to ensure that the decision I'm making is a great one, and that I've got, that's the Pamela I'm expecting, right? So hopefully Pam, that answered your questions, and there's probably some more detail we can talk to offline, but rest assured, if it's similar, you want it to be similar to your website. Remember, your product is a product brand, but I'm only buying it because I love the company brand. So for example, and this is going off personal brand, but we started buying Apple products because of Steve Jobs. I mean, we thought he was cool, he was innovative, he was intelligent, he always brought about the most interesting pieces. People created an affinity around this man. He was Apple, right? And so no matter what products they put out, people who resonated with that or aligned with Steve Jobs would buy the product. So I want you to think about that. And if you are the mother brand, then every offshoot that you offer is a part of you, right? And you're putting your brand stamp on it. So hopefully that gives you some insight into some things that you can do to create that alignment a little bit tighter in your landing page.
So that is making me think of some things. I don't have a landing page, but my plan is to start a blog. I do a lot of videos. I do live videos. I do recorded videos. I have separate things I do with a team, separate things I do with growing sales. But it's making me look, I just pulled up my website. Mm-hmm. And, one of the things you said is something I know is that people aren't buying my products necessarily. They're buying them from me. So how do I fine tune that more to show more of me? I mean, it's got a video of me that plays, and me talking. Just trying to figure out ways that what I do is more of me and my style, and the products are kind of secondary. I mean, I'm thinking I need to kind of fine tune that on my website too, probably because it talks about, hey, when you're ready for good products, whatever it says, but how do I put me more in there? And you still have them, and they're not buying me, but they're buying me.
Right. So what are your style attributes?
Confidence. Oh my God.
Adventure.
Yes. Adventure. Inspiration. Yeah. I know myself. Adventurous, passionate, humorous, approachable, spontaneous.
So take a look at your narrative, number one, and where are those words in your narrative? Where can you add quotes that might be inspiring, right? Because you're inspiring. Talk about some of your adventures and traveling and doing your work and to different, you know what I mean? Just
okay.
Each and every one of those attributes and see how can I make this tangible for them?
Okay.
I thought you would infuse more of you in there.
Right.
I'm sure that you're doing a really good job right now. I'll probably go check it out as soon as I get off. But if you want to talk offline with this too, but
it just made me realize more of, when I'm marketing to grow products or my team, it needs to be more of me and my style attributes rather than the products and the benefits.
Exactly, because if I'm buying Senegence, I get to choose from 50,000 representatives. I mean, why am I working with you?
Right, exactly.
That's the big deal. Sure. Awesome. Good insight there.
Mm-hmm. You said you always put your favorite beauty quote. Why don't you you create some quotes?
Right.
Quotes,
Good.
Yeah.
So my Zoom recording is telling me I have 8 minutes remaining meeting time unless I upgrade. So we gotta, apparently I only get like 40 minutes, but, and that's new, that wasn't always. So is there anything else I can help you guys with that's happening with you right now?
It's awesome just having you keep us thinking about this, because I have to say, I mean, this sheet stays on my desk and I have notes written all over it. I could rewrite it, but it's like I try and keep everything in one spot, but just reviewing it on a regular basis would help in everything I do, so I show up more clear all the time.
Yes. You've done the work, Katie. It's just now making it tangible, and you're doing a great job. You know, it's just branding never stops.
Right.
It's how can I, you know that the third most powerful attribute of a successful brand is being generative. Remember, what that means is constantly stepping into that trajectory of what does adventure look like this year? What does inspiring look like this year? You know what I mean? You're just getting deeper and deeper into the meaning of what that is for you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. This was fun. Terry, anything else?
No, I like what you just said, Katie, because I finally moved my home office from my kitchen table up to my office. And so your book is in here, and I don't know exactly where it is. I have to get my page out and review it as much as
great.
So.
Excellent. Well, commit to doing that in the new year, my friend, and you know, stay on these calls, because it's like your accountability partner. Yep. You know, even if you don't have a question, just listen.
Yes.
It's just a great reminder.
Love it. Thank you.
You're very welcome, ladies. Thank you so much for attending this and being a part of this membership. I truly appreciate it. And feel free to tell your friends about it. It is open to anybody, not just those who've gone through my program. In fact, I want more people who haven't dipped their foot in the pool of that program yet, just to get a sense of what we talk about and get excited about true meaning of brand, internal brand development. So thank you so much. I hope you all have a wonderful new year, and we're going to see each other again soon.
Yeah. Happy New Year. Thanks, Suzanne. Thanks, Terry.
Thank you too.
Take care, guys. Love y'all.
Love you too.
Ciao, ciao. Stay warm.